on the bottom of the map, we have our unserved player, currently up one game. It is Felicity's Pro.
And in the top right center of the map is our pink Terran player. Losing game one, see if he can pull it out this one. It is Fade.
But yeah, as I was saying, we can maybe illustrate this a little bit more cleanly by looking at the map a little bit. This is a very largely awkward natural that you work with on this map. And so the usual shenaniganry of bunker, supply depot walls become a little bit funky here because of this extra ramp you have to worry about. Yeah, like walking around this is very awkward. So it's, though, not to necessarily say that Zergs always win here. It's just that this tends to encourage people to stay away from a lot of that. A lot of the plays are designed to get to a third base pretty quickly because it can be so difficult to secure. So I wouldn't be surprised to see they'd stick to his guns on this, do his usual stuff.
Yep.
But Probe was saying that he actually has a hard time with this particular map. And, it's important to remember that no matter what the generalities for the map are, everybody still have their own individual traits at bay to worry about.
Yep, 2-base play all day, 2-base Roach, got a base mech, all that fun stuff. Should be a little bit faster game this game. Fade opting to open up with a command center before barracks, and Probe catching that pretty quick.
Yeah, okay. So he's not really gonna attempt to fake the cheese. He's just gonna straight be like, look, I'm also gonna kill your drone. How dare you kill my CV like that?
Right.
It's nasty of you to do that.
Probe, noticing the expansion.
Guy had a family. Well, actually, he probably didn't, because he was probably a Marine and a convict. But,
he's been working the mines in Marsara for years. And
that guy was a political prisoner of Minsk. You have just killed the future of the Dominion. That guy could have made a better world. Oh, well, too late. Over. Not happening.
The Swarm doesn't give a shit.
Nope. It's really important for them to take the rooftop of this particular Terran world. This particularly huge building. It's incredible strategic importance.
Yes. Yet there's no nuclear weapons, no nothing, just gold minerals right in the center.
Dude, those gold minerals mean a lot. And sometimes you got to take them in order to actually take the location.
Game paused.
Nope.
Probe's apparently got lag problems.
Pause.
Oh, we didn't have game timer on.
Yeah. It's kind of nice to have a general idea when you're supposed to have stuff. So, but no, we got Probe opening up with his own natural as well. And I don't know. It's looking pretty good so far.
Nah, we know Probe. Don't worry. That timer you may not think that necessarily makes a huge difference when you first start playing, but as you get better at the game, you begin to understand that actually is a very good reminder of when you can be hit by certain things. So it's very well.
Crap! I haven't built my first gateway until 6 minutes. What's going on?
It's 3 minutes. I probably can't be hit by DTs yet. That sentence is helpful when you're first starting out.
Yes, makes you feel better about yourself. I can win this.
And then you forget about it, and it's 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Your opponent's a little late on the timing, but then the DT show on your base, and you're like, oh, right, darn.
App. Should have watched the clock. The Probe. Opening up the third hatch.
Yeah, he sees this fast expansion and just says, okay, fine, I'm just going to get a faster one. And in this particular situation, that's totally fine. Like, this is basically shaping up to be a more normal-looking macro game. Except that I think on this particular map that favors the Zerg a little bit more. But we'll see.
Yep, Fade's going for a factory too, so we're looking at some factory-based play. Maybe some more Widow Mines. He does like his Hellions and Hellbats though, so we may see that reappear here. If he finds out there's a third base over there, potential for quite a bit of harassment. We shall see. We shall see. Got a lot of gas flowing in, so.
Yeah, you'll notice one thing here that the both Terrans and Protoss actually have in common when they wall off on this map. A lot of them will actually go for a kind of half wall, one that just blocks the easy access to the ramp, and then you put something that can shoot at stuff that tries to run around. The problem with this is that it doesn't protect the back geyser very well. And it's very, very, very possible for units to just line up right there, start hitting your workers, run away, they retreat up this ramp to the back, and that harassment can drive you very quickly insane.
Very quickly.
But at the same time, too, if they try to dive past this into your base, there's a lot for them to go through. A lot of things take damage. It's not as effective. So that's kind of the reasoning there. But like I said, this doesn't start to feel really absurd until you take this third.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So yep, still waiting on these players. Are macroing up, getting their economy in order. There's a tech lab coming down on the factory, so looking at tanks. Tanks and marauders.
Tanks and marauders.
He knows Fade, likes his roaches. But in fact, he's going for banelings this game.
It looks like he's actually straight signed a blind counter that, but yeah, the baneling play is, I think it's going to be pretty good here. Just going into link styles. He can actually get a lot of damage done just with hit and run attacks. And he can fade off into the distance. I've been wanting to use that pun. I'm sorry. It's been in the back of my mind. It's not even really appropriate here because, it's not like Fade's doing the fading, but maybe he's going to try that a little bit with the Hellions.
Fade off in the distance. Very good. So, there is a Roach Warren on the way as well. So, Fade did kind of read this blindly. Definitely going to be prepared for this one, but I think the Banelings thrown into the mix is going to be a little bit painful, especially a slow-moving tank army.
That is definitely a consideration. But yeah, he's going up for his third. So this is not necessarily something he's going to plant down right away, but it helps that get that SCV production really in gear. Gives you a lot more mules to work with. And yeah, it actually looks like Fade's going to stay entirely on the defensive in this game.
Mm-hmm. Yep, just content to build up his base. Wait for Fade to, wait for Probe to come to him.
So in my mind, this has always been kind of a signature element of Probe's play, is that he loves these small, little kind of hit squads of lings. I've seen him do this in pretty much every matchup. He'll grab a few of these guys, maybe at a timing that you wouldn't necessarily expect, and he'll try to look for an opening in your structural setup and just hit you real hard in that spot, then disappear.
Yep.
And it's a defective strategy.
Very solid. Yeah, I would say so.
With this tank here, though, I think Fade's pretty well secured against this, at least for now. Looks like he's actually just waiting for him to try and build this command center, try to land it up there. It's not happening, though.
Yep, for sure.
And he's going to be like, well, there's a tank there, okay. Fourth going up by Probe. And we may actually be in for a longer game here.
Ooh, scary. Got a Hydra Den coming down, centrifugal hooks for the Banelings, and tanks are coming out 2 at a time. So indeed, looking at some slower mech-based play, we got a Vikings. Vikings on the way as well for both high ground vision and potentially Mutalisks. I don't know. I don't think he's expecting Mutas, though. I think he's got the Roaches and the Hydras read pretty well here. Probe's going to poke down. Yep.
Oh, He's trying to run to the back. I think he wanted to hide him back there to try and either get scouting information, or he was considering sneaking some banelings to the back there, but didn't quite make it. He did get a good idea, the structure of this defense here. He sees a few of the siege tanks, the Hellions, which are all moving forward now. Just have the one laying up there to watch for this attempt to create the base, which he now sees.
And he found Blue Flame.
Yep. So Fade very much just going for kind of like the heavy back play. And honestly speaking, this is going to be very, very good against lower tier Zerg units. We'll see what that pushes Probe into doing. See if he tries to hit him before he can really obtain a critical mass of those units. And actually looks like that's kind of what he's going for with the Roach Hydra. Or if eventually he's going to burst up into a different higher tech. Lots of scans going off. Starting to see the Zerg swarms start to spread all over this map.
Yep, making sure he knows his opponent. He's got 12 Banelings.
The thing is, actually, at this angle, that might work. There's a lot of Hellions here, but if the Hellions are out of position when they go up the ramp, the siege tanks are a little bit out of the way for them to actually be able to really cover this ramp properly. So he should be able to hook around just the lip of this and end up in the bait, and that's exactly what he's trying to do. He does
Ooh.
take a couple of siege tank shots, but he does get a couple of them, and that wasn't really as worth it as it could have been. Took out maybe 3 or 4 workers for the cost of about, like, what, 10 banelings?
Something
That's
like that, yeah.
expensive.
That's pretty expensive. It's worth a
Ugh.
shot. Probably
You
should have
know
scouted
what?
ahead first, but...
I admit it, I was wrong. Those things have way more range than I initially suspected. He actually has got it perfectly positioned so that it covers exactly the edge
Yep.
of that area.
They actually have more range than their vision, so as long as you have vision, you get a little bit extra.
That is excellent.
Yep, pretty crazy. So now we got a spire coming down here. The third, about to be built. And lots of swarm hosts. Probably the best thing to choose against mech. Easiest way to whittle them down from a distance. Get enduring locusts in there. You know, groove spoons.
There is actually a couple things about this that um, a couple things about this base and the setup that Fade's gone for is I think he's really hoping his opponent doesn't go Muta. Because honestly speaking, he's got his entire army way out to the left, and then there's this huge open space on the right.
Yep, Muta would definitely just shut
But
this down.
at the same time, too, I can understand the desire not to want to do that, as, well, if he just walks over to your base. He's only got the 1 Thor there. I guess it really doesn't have much in the way of anti-air, and I think he's just read Probe very well in that respect. Swarm hosts, though. That is an interesting decision. Swarm hosts in this particular position should do okay. If he's got enough siege tank coverage, it won't be... but he's getting the siege tanks unsieged. Well, that's helping out a little bit with that, kind of keeping him at bay for a little bit. And we might end up having a staring contest here shortly.
Yep, tanks are positioned. Cut this place in half while he runs at the fourth base there. Doing some damage. This hatchery will definitely go down as long as he hangs onto his units. This is the endurance test for the mech player here. Saw this earlier against Gumiho, Jadong. Jadong actually against Warhost. Yep, Locust getting out here, getting shredded by the tanks, kicking this down one hellbat at a time, and this hatchery should fall. Staring contest indeed. Enduring Locust on the way. Going up to Hive. And +1 vehicle weapons is on the way.
Looks like Fade's not interested in playing the patient game, though. He's picking up all his units and moving forward. The Locusts are actually running up to the north, and as a result of that, he's going completely away from their active defensive area. He's going to set up the siege tanks on low ground down here. Doesn't actually have vision of the high... No, he does have a little bit. Okay, so he should be able to hit the Locusts just as they come down. Oh, using his real anti-air. Probably okay, given that I think Probe's kind of not going to be capable of a tech switch unless he sacrifices most of his units. There he goes. There it is. 18 Mutalisks popping out just as the Roaches and Hydras all sacrifice themselves. Does lose another hatchery in the meantime, though.
Yep, if those can get out before these Vikings lift off again, they can shut this down rather easily. There's only a few Vikings here, not enough to really control the skies.
Of course, it's one of those things, though, where he...
Somehow unburrowed.
Too much more damage.
Ouch, ouch.
I think that was intentional to get more mutas. No, it couldn't be. He's at 142 supply. Here comes the Mutalist. There's virtually no anti-air, and now he's got to pack up everything and run for it and just hope stuff survives. So this... the aliens obviously get away. The siege tanks are like, well, okay, we're not going to survive. We know that. So, unfortunately, he's running up into the base with the Locusts, so they're going to get sandwiched and die.
Extremely expensive loss. The entire mech army going down right there.
It was actually almost, if he had decided to go to the main, could have hit some of the more important tech structures there, but didn't really have that option. Instead, back home, he's producing 3 Thors at a time, 2 Hellions, and trying to counter his opponent's transition. Unfortunately, Probe still has the Swarm Host, and he may not actually have any answer to that.
Yep, as the Muta and Swarm Host count grows, Fade's time ticks away much faster. He's got +3 vehicle weapons on the way, so that'll make some kind of difference, but if he's being sieged from a long distance by the Swarm Host, there's not much his tanks can do except set up a defensive line. Not going to be much leaving his base.
It was good to hit like that many hatcheries like that. That does help, but As you can see, Fate's expanding to the left. He's taking expansion to the right. He still has 3 mining bases, effectively. So he'll be... His economy isn't really that bad off, though he has had to be careful. He's flying near the Thors, takes a direct hit, loses 3 of them immediately. 3 more Thors about to pop out. And, well, he's losing 1 command center. It's just a mule command center, though.
Muta's exploiting the immobility of the mech army here. There are 2 Thors that just popped out. That's going to change the game real fast. He's going to get out of there.
And yeah, he has kind of an answer for the Mutalisks, but here comes a Swarm Host attack. But not quite adequate range, it seems.
Nope, not quite. They're going to move up here, poke at the supply depot. Terran army is nowhere to be found. Still camping out over here at the 3rd. And so it begins. Probe taking another base on the left side, just filling out his stuff here. A lot of mules grabbing extra minerals from the wrong base.
Kind of interesting that he did that. I wonder if there's a reason for it, if it was just a... I don't know, it seems actually almost like it would be impossible to have a misclick for that. Anyway, Mutalisks totally destroying the mineral line. And some damage.
Lost several in the process.
Yeah, not quite perfect trade there. Fate actually building up his army relatively well. It seems that Probe's kind of stuck in the middle of kind of a gap here, trying to figure out what to do with his resources. And the decision is more Swarm Hosts. Swarm Hosts are the answer to his problems right now. And he's probably not really wrong about that, though Fate seems to be anticipating this and is starting to get siege tanks again.
Yep. Vehicle weapons level 3, 5 seconds out. It's gonna make a big difference here, especially against the Swarm Host and the Locust. These Hellbats are gonna shut these down pretty quick.
Well, they'll help out a little bit, but just like Zealots, they don't really do that great. They lose in pretty... If Locust costs money, it would money, it would be an equal trade. But they don't, so it's not.
It's always a loss, always a loss. And so we got the army dance going on here. Swarm Hosts don't want to exactly plop down in front of that right now. Constant scans, make sure he's got eyeballs on the burrowed Swarm. One runner out front being brave.
Wait until the Locusts get in front. Probably pick up the Swarm Hosts, keep moving back. Force him to fight with that for a little bit. You can see he loses just a couple more Hellbats, buys himself a little bit more time. 3 burrows. Does it again.
Yep. Pretty good control here, the strategy, positioning. It's very smart on Probe's part.
Checking out there, wanted to see if there was a base to kill. Didn't find it. I don't think he realizes that there's a base immediately to the south of his fort.
Yeah. But Muta's moving toward the main base, while the mech army is away from home. A lot of missile turrets, but these will go down fast if he doesn't move command into all of them. Pick them off one by one.
Actually losing a decent amount of Mutalisks to that, but he's cleaned it up for the most part, and now he can... This just hurts. There isn't really any way to deal with this. There's no Thors at home that he can use. He just has to let it happen, and he's going to start killing off add-ons, killing off supply depots, killing off whatever he can hit, and he's just kind of hoping that this push convinces him that he has to bring the Mutalisks back home. So far, it doesn't appear to be the case.
Yep, looking pretty dire here for a Terran player. The push at the front's being whittled away. Thors are slowly going down and losing all of his production structures.
And this is just really brutal. If those production structures start to fall, it won't even matter how much money Fate has, as his army will just continue to shrink, and there'll be literally nothing that he can do about that.
Yep, he's pulling out now.
He's already starting to fall back. A little bunching up over the Thor right there. It takes a lot of damage, but does kill it off. Another one about to pop out.
Fortunately, I think this returning home is too little too late, and there's the GG.
GG.
Hope takes game 2.
So we were wrong, yeah. Totally macro game.
Interesting.